Hi, so Dr. Aaron Willis here from Social Studies School Service. Really excited to be able to share some information with you today about using your administrator account in Active Classroom. We have a number of unique features that allows you to manage the users in your district and create reports and share lessons and activities with them. And I think this is going to be really valuable because we often don't have an opportunity to go over what some of these features are. So really glad that you could join us today. Let's go in and take a look at what we've got going here. So the topic is Active Classroom for Administrators, and the big question is, what is an administrator account? So an administrator account allows you to manage users. That means that you can upload teachers or students into the system. You can also change the status of teachers or students, and you can change their passwords. You can delete users and add users. The only limitation is that you've got a number of seats that have been assigned to your account. So you would, if you have a new teacher starting, for example, this year and one that left, you can delete the older user, and that frees up the seat and allows you to add in a new user. We'll be showing you in a minute how to do things like that. You can also share content. We'll see how you can create an activity set and share that out to any number of your users. And you can pinpoint, perhaps you have some teachers that are focusing on English language learners or a special group or need kinesthetic activities or visual activities. You can create a special activity set for them and share that out to them. You can also create organization-wide discussions. So you can use Active Classroom as a way to be able to allow your teachers to talk about Active Classroom or whatever you want them to be talking about on a district-wide basis. So it's a great way to be able to integrate teachers. I know some of you have districts which stretch out over a few miles, whereas some of you have districts that stretch out over hundreds of miles. And this gives you a nice, easy way to allow discussions to happen, threaded discussions. We'll see how to set that up. As I mentioned, you can also generate usage reports for both teachers and students. See which of your teachers are logging in, when they're logging in, what they're doing, when they're, where they're going, as well as generating reports on students and finding out not only when students are logging in, how much time they're spending in the system, but also which activities they're working on. I like to generate the student reports to be able to see generally which teachers are using this, more world history than U.S. history versus econ. You can get a quick idea by just seeing which lessons the students are going to. Okay, so let's pop on over to Active Classroom and get a live view of some of these features. I've signed into my administrator account here, and you should be able to see that on the screen now. This is my home screen. I've got a number of curriculum maps that have been created. These are the maps that allow me to go in and see a scope and sequence for a particular grade. Some of you may have this. This is an extra feature that we offer in Active Classroom. Others may have activity sets that have been created that are on the Find Activities page. So the first thing you're going to notice is that an administrator account has a different set of buttons here than a regular teacher account, and of course different than a student account. With the this generates the ability to manage things and generate reports at a different level. Let's go in, though, because I like to find activities first. I think this is a good place to start. You can go in here and you can search for types of activities. It looks like I just had done a search on zombie-based geography, for example. So if this was something that I wanted to share with my teachers, I can go in here. I can do a search. I decide that I want to share with my teachers this lesson, and so new lesson to review. I give it a title. Maybe I'll give it a date here. Assign it as a keyword. I saw there was just a question that came up. Thanks for chatting that question over. We will go through the questions in order when we get to the presentation, and I can talk to you a little bit more about the curriculum maps are there. Yes, I'm in a Texas account, and that's why you see the curriculum maps for Texas. the maps that may be available to you depend on your license in your district. I've now created a activity set here, and even though we use this language of a set, you can use just a single activity in a set. Maybe we should change the name at some point. But what I want to do here is save it first, and I see that I've saved it successfully. And now what I'd like to do is share that activity set with some of my teacher leaders in the district. So here I'm going to share this with Sydney and Talia, and I'm going to let them know. Just scroll up a little bit here. So here I'm letting them know, here's the zombie lesson that I promised. I send it, and it should appear now in their account. Where will they find it? They'll go over here to look in their activity sets area, and that new shared activity should be there under their activity sets. They can also find, well, I don't have a teacher account here to show you. Maybe we'll come back and look at what that looks like at the teacher account level as well. Let me just go back to the home page here for a minute. Okay, we'll go back to the home page at a later stage. So now we've gone in and we've shared content with our users. Oh, here's what I wanted to show you. If your users, your teachers have selected when in their user profile to be notified when an activity set is shared with them, and we recommend this, I'll show you that in a minute, then it'll appear here as a message as well that an activity set has been shared with them. We'll see in a minute how to do that. Okay, so we've gone in and we've learned how to share content with other users or other teachers in the district. Another thing, and probably the most important thing, is just managing users. So you go here to the Management tab, Manage Users. Okay, this is great. I see that you guys are sending additional questions in. Feel free to continue to use the chat feature to send me questions, and when we get to the question and answer period, I'll take those in order and we'll be able to jump in and take a look at them. But those look like some good questions so far. Thank you very much. So here is our management area. We can do a number of things here. Probably the most important thing is adding users. Now we can add an individual user one at a time, and we can click on this interface to add a user. It allows us to add their names. Here's where we can check off those notifications. And we would like to probably, here's that one, an activity set was shared with you. And since you're an administrator, you have the ability to create both teachers and students. So you can go down here and you can select the role for your new person. If it's a teacher, it'll give you the opportunity to assign any of a number of licenses. So you might have multiple licenses within a district. You could have an econ license as well as a government license. I believe that you can select more than one license at a time and assign that teacher and save that. Okay, so that's one way that you might be able to create those new roles. If you select a student, the student automatically just gets access to the license that teacher has, and we'll show you how the students get put in later. So that's one way to add a user on an individual basis. There's also the ability to upload users in a bulk process. So if I click here, it downloads a sample CSV file. That's an Excel type file, and I think I've already done that here. And I've downloaded that file previously, and then I created two different types of users here. And all we need are these main fields filled out, A through F. An email address, a password that we set, first name, last name, the state, and the user type. And here we can distinguish whether we're uploading students or teachers. But in a single file, you can upload not only students but also teachers. Now, most admins usually are just uploading the teachers and creating the teacher accounts. They can then let the teachers actually add the students individually into their own classes. And so that's the preferred method. Also, many of you, when you sign up, receive a registration link which allows teachers to sign themselves up. So you may not even need to do something like this, but this is always available to you when you want to add a new user. So we've created this file. Let me save it. And now I can browse. Let me find this on my desktop here. It's this user sample. It shows that I found the file that I want to upload. I go in, I upload those users, and now I've successfully imported them. Okay, so now those users, I created one teacher and one student, and we now have access to them. Now let's see, who was the teacher that I just uploaded? It was John Bench, okay, not to be confused with Johnny Bench. And I can now search for a user. Say John Bench doesn't remember his password, and I want to go in and modify that. So I can go in here, do a search, and I think I spelled his name wrong. There he is. And here is his account. So now I want to go in and edit that account. And this would allow me to make any number of changes to the email address. If we need to update their password, you can set a new password here, and as long as you confirm that, we can continue to modify their notifications here, and we can change them into a role that's appropriate. Okay, and give them a license, and then save their account. Okay, that's not a good sign. I think because I didn't update the information there, we got a little bit of an error, but that's how it should work. Let's go back to the Manage Users and see what other features we have here. So we've seen how to upload an individual user, how to upload a group of users, also how to search for a user, and here you can search for either students or teachers to modify their account. So here I have a student named Johnny Appleseed. I search for him, and he comes up, and then I can go in and edit his information as well, change his password, change any of the reporting features about him. So that's what you can do with management. It does allow you to add or delete users. Let's see, we want to go back and let's show an example of, say I wanted to delete this user, Florida, and I simply go here and hit the delete button. So that might be how you delete a teacher that's no longer with your district in order to free up that seat that you'd like to use for the new teacher that's come in. Okay, so those are a couple of important features there. We've now seen how to manage users and how to share content. Let's go into the Collaboration tab here, and here's where you can create organization-wide. That means usually your whole district. Depends how we set up your organization. Discussions or conferences. Discussions are threaded discussions where the teachers can post asynchronously at any time that they like. Conferences are real-time conferences, like a GoToMeeting or a WebEx meeting, where people can share video and meet in real time. We use that in our online courses for office hours and those types of things, but you could have, and I know some of you are in these very large districts that are spread out, you could use this feature as a way to sort of video conference with your teachers. But what I wanted to show you today is how to create a discussion. We think it's very valuable for you to create a common area where your teachers can go, maybe to post their questions about Active Classroom or to talk about the resources that they're using. So we can go in here, and you as an administrator can create a new forum, and we'll call this the Active Classroom. We need to spell it right, probably. Area, and here we add a description now. Post your and we can select specific participants here. So here I want to make sure that I've got my teachers that I want to have included in here. And I think my resolution is off a little bit, so you can't quite see this. I'm going to grab Talia and Eitan and add them to this discussion. Save that forum. And now we can go in here, and it's going to be at the end of my discussion. Here's the active classroom discussion area. And we've got a general discussion. And so here's where your teachers can come in. And if we reply to this, we can begin to create. Now, of course, I'm replying to myself. Type it in there, submit the post, and now we have the beginnings of that threaded discussion. Okay, so that gives you an idea about how to get to those discussions, and if you want to send your teachers there, obviously I've got a lot in my account here. You'll probably have just a few, but I just went to the second page and it adds them in, and here is that discussion area that we just created. And now we can see that we're starting to accumulate some responses in there. Okay, so we've seen how to manage users, share content, and create organization-wide discussions. Last thing I wanted to show you today was about how to create reports. So you've got two different types of reports that you can create. I like this one the best, the application usage by users. And this is something where you don't have to fill in all the fields, but we might set a start date. So if I wanted to know everyone in my organization who's logged in between the 1st of this month and today, and I might distinguish, I want to distinguish between teachers and students. So I don't need to search for a specific name or email. I just set the dates and the role. I hit export, and it's going to download an Excel file for me that I can open up here. And it shows me now who's logged in, when they logged in, come back on the screen here, and how long they were logged in for, as well as what areas of the site they went to. So I can get a lot of information. I also can see how many times people have logged in. So you can sort and you can deduplicate this. Of course, if you go to data in Excel, you can remove duplicates and say select on the email address and then just get a single list of everybody that's logged in from your district. Let me show you how to do that. Remove duplicates. I'm going to do it on I would do it on email because that's probably the unique identifier for each person. And now it deleted 112 duplicate values. So I have 15 unique users. So here's all my users in the organization that have logged in the past 20 days. So now it's not comprehensive in terms of how much they've logged in, but if you just want to get a quick idea of who's logged in and been active in the system, that gives you some good information right there. Now we can generate a similar type of report for students. And let's see, I don't know how active our student users have been. Let's see if we get anything here. Yeah. Here are the student users. And what's interesting about the student users is when you get to this events section over on the right-hand side, you can see if they've gone into a specific activity, it will show the exact activity that they went into. So this student visited the backward planning PowerPoints for American World War I, as well as a decision-making activity and another activity on national security. So you really can get some nuanced information. Here's a student who's gone on to Power Basics, the Middle East. So you can see what content is being used by the students in your district. I find that very valuable. Now you can also, let me reset this, and you can search just for a particular teacher, for example. So I want to know, I've got this guy Bernstein, and I think he hasn't been using the system enough. I want to see if there's anything there. Oh, I've got to choose him as a teacher. And it'll run a report just for that particular teacher or student. And in fact, I see that he has logged in several times this week and once last week and spent a fair amount of time in there, and I can get an idea of what he's been doing. So we think it's really important. What we've discovered with Active Classroom is that you've got usually in a district several power users that are really take to the system and get a hang of it, and others that are either intentionally reluctant. They've been teaching a different way for 30 years and they're getting ready to retire in 2 years and they're not interested in something new, or others that just aren't quite familiar with the system or can't figure out what to do with it. Well, do a search, figure out who your power users are, and then try and match them up maybe with other users at their school or their site that they can mentor or teach or help to facilitate, because usually getting help from their colleagues or peers is proven to be a very effective way to be able to get those reluctant teachers to use the system. So that pretty much covers the main tabs here. The other thing that I want to emphasize, and really we can't emphasize this enough, is the Help tab. Here we have a comprehensive PDF, a 48-page user guide, which is very visually oriented. Here it's downloading. Let's just give it a second to come up here. This is something that you can push out to your teachers. You can let them know it's here, or you can actually download it and email it to them. And it's a clickable guide, so if we want to go in and we want to explain to the teachers how to find activities, we just clicked on that table of contents, and look how easy it is. Very, very visual with clear instructions on how to accomplish that particular activity. Creating activity sets, assigning them, so modifying them, a lot of the major features that you'd want teachers to know about. As well, we have all these different help videos. These are short, little 3-minute videos, anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes, adding and organizing students, building and modifying activity sets. We've got collaboration, building quizzes. You can add your own content to Active Classroom. Teachers can watch this short little video, a little screencast that shows you how to do that. Or say you want to register parents. Parents can be registered and they can see the same content that their students see. They can see the grades that their students are getting. They can see the actual content of the activities. They can see the work that their students are completing. If the students are asked to highlight the main ideas in a reading passage, the parents can review all that. The only thing the parents cannot do is fill in the answers for their students. But it's a great way to bring parents in and get them involved, and not as much for your teachers to do in order to make sure that the parents have access to what the students are doing in a meaningful way. So that covers all of the main topics that I wanted to review today. I'm going to now unmute you guys, as well as take on the questions that we came up with. So allow me a minute to come back here. You guys should be able to speak now, but let me go to the questions that were posed in the chat. Then we'll open it up for more general questions. Okay, so first question here. I can see there's a Texas history curriculum. Can we have our 8th grade Louisiana history curriculum available? It is currently not available. So I'm not sure exactly what district you're from. I know we just did a big implementation in Lafayette. So if that's the district that you're there, Leslie, I think that contact your specialist in the district and find out what is available for Louisiana history, and maybe we can make that available for you. I know we did do a special push in Texas, and there was curriculum that we already had available. I think for Louisiana we need to create special content for you, but maybe that's something we can do over the coming year. Here's another question from Sarah. If I have an administrator account but I am a teacher, do I need to do things differently? Sarah, that's a great question. What you need to do is you need to really set up 2 separate accounts, because you're going to have different privileges in your administrator account, and you're going to be able to do different things in your teacher account. So that's often the case, is that somebody's an administrator and a teacher. What you need to do to set up the different accounts would be just to create an account for yourself as a teacher, go in as an administrator, create a new teacher account, and maybe use a different email address to create your teacher account, and then sign in differently depending on whether you want to take on the role of administrator or teacher. But you are correct, there's different roles. You can't have students if you're an administrator, but if you're a teacher, of course, you can have a list of students that are in your class. So those are two great questions, and you guys can, I think if you've got your audio hooked up, you can just go ahead and ask a question. Otherwise, you can type it into the chat area, but we're open for questions at this point. Okay. Well, I'll let you know. You can always email me, aaron@socialstudies.com, or our general email address here on the help page, help@socialstudies.com, with any questions that you may have about being an administrator or a teacher or setting up multiple accounts. We'd be happy to help you. Once again, there's extensive support here on the help page, from the downloadable PDF to these types of activities. You can click on one of these video links and send those out to your teachers if you want to push that information out to them. So we do give you a lot of ability to communicate successfully with your teachers. I'll stay on the line for another minute here if there's any other questions. Otherwise, you're free to go. This session has been recorded and will be available within 24 hours if you want to review it or if you want to share it with any of your colleagues. Here's a question from Sarah. Are there any more webinars scheduled? There are, and we've got webinars coming up on getting started with Active Classroom, as well as one on September 1st about using the September 11th education curriculum and preparing for the anniversary of September 11th. Moreover, you can always find, and I'm going to just type in the little chat window here at nystrom.education.com/learning. That link will take you to a complete list of all of our webinars, as well as the recordings of the ones that have transpired. So that's a great place for you to go, Sarah, to find out. But feel free to send me an email about any of the other issues and questions that you have. We'd be happy to work with you on a one-on-one basis.